So about 10 years ago, I was a drill sergeant down in Fort Benning, Georgia, and I was super excited for my new mission. It was my job to instill the values of being a warrior. You know, I'm going to put you in the best shape of your life. I'm going to make you one of the best shooters in the field. I'm going to show you things that you didn't think were possible. And I was super excited about this mission. Okay, and we were in the midst of 2 wars, so this was a desperate mission. And then one day, our lieutenant colonel, who was our battalion commander at the time, he comes down, he brings all the drill sergeants into one room, and he says, look, all these guys that you're training are infantry. Right now, statistically, they have a 50% chance of deploying in 6 months to go to teams of people that you know already. He says, so this is my challenge, this is my commission to you. Your job is to make them an effective member of a fire team. And what that means is, by the time they leave here, they will understand mission first and bring everyone back home alive. It's like, that's my commission to you. So I thought that was great, but then I started thinking about it. I'm like, your mission, your objective is different than mine. Don't you care about our fitness numbers or our shooting scores and all this other stuff? Of course he did, but that wasn't his priority. His priority was making great teams that can be effective. Now, if you don't know about the Army Infantry team, it consists of about 4 to 6 guys who are about 18 to 22 years old. In some cases, many cases, these guys 6 months earlier were in high school. Now they're thousands of miles away with people they've never met before up until a few months earlier, and they are on the front lines. And our entire nation, the hundreds of years of existence that we brought up to this point, is counting on them to do their job. A high school graduate who's 18 years old, it's all on you. So how do we make these guys effective? So I was thinking about what the lieutenant colonel was saying, and he says, okay, here's my quantifiable mission, okay? I need X in this amount by this time. I need X by when, right? And then what he did something next. He gave us any tool we needed to be successful, within his power, obviously, but he gave us everything he needed, or everything we needed to be successful. Education, tools, training, whatever. And he did a great job doing it. He encouraged us. So let's flash forward years later. I started a business, and I try to keep that military culture and all these lessons learned, especially what I learned from that lieutenant colonel, which was, mission first, quantify your mission, and then give me the assets to do my job, right? So we follow that closely. And then one day, as we're growing really, really quickly, our customer service team is really important to us. It's a sense of pride for us. Just like any company, right? You have to have great customer service, otherwise you're not going to have customers, really. But so I wanted to test to see how our customer service was doing one day. So I'm in Chicago, coming back from a trade show, and I call into customer service. Now, our limit is 5 minutes. You should be able to talk to a human in 5 minutes on the phone, right? And if you send an email, you should get a response that day. Common sense, right? So I call on the phone, and if someone doesn't pick up right away, it says, hey, thank you for calling, someone will answer you in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. It has an auto calculation that's smarter than me. And so it says, please wait 70 minutes. I nearly dropped my phone. I quickly hang up, I'm like, the machine's broken. So then I call back in, I'm like, all right, let me see what the real number is. Is it 4 minutes? Please wait 71 minutes. And now I am fuming mad, and I jump on my pedal, and I speed all the way home, or back to the office, and I run in there, and I go straight back to drill sergeant mode, and I go straight to the customer service leader, and I'm like, you are failing, you are not doing a good job. This is what you're going to do, and I'm dragging him, metaphorically, but I'm taking him all over the place, and I'm getting him involved. I'm like, this is what needs to happen. Hey, you 3 over there in finance, get your butt on the phones. 4 for marketing, get on the emails. We are going to do this together. I'm going to make you successful. You are failing. And I was doing this for hours and hours and hours, days and days and days, and by the end of the week, we got our numbers back to where we needed. 5 minutes for phone calls, and same day for emails, right? And then I put this big dashboard, right over that leader's face, right? And I said, I'm going to watch you every hour on the hour. You will not fail again. And I made sure everyone knew it. All the pressure's on you now. So, a few weeks go by, and I got distracted. I didn't check up right away. And I call in. I'm like, oh, I might as well, I'm on the road. Let me just call in and see where we're at. So I call in, and it says, please wait 90 minutes. Within a matter of weeks, all our numbers just melted down. And now I am fuming. And I start dragging them. I'm like, you're failing again. You messed this all up. This is all on you. You are the failure. And going on and on and on. And eventually, I caused him to quit because of the way I was, if you want to call it, leading him, right? I caused him to quit. I pushed him out. And that was wrong. It was a mistake. And because I learned something later. So as I pushed him out, because I don't think I'm doing anything wrong this time, I'm making an example, right? You're not doing a good job. I'm going to make an example out of you. Everyone's going to know it's mission first here, and you better hit it, and I'm going to embarrass you if you don't, right? So I bring in a new customer service leader, and I turn to her, I'm like, listen, here's our objective. 5 minutes for phone calls, same day for emails. She's like, got it. And I'm like, do you have all the assets you need to be successful? Do you have all the people you need? She's like, I do. Do you have all the computers and technical equipment that you need? She's like, I do. I'm like, what do you need from me to make you successful? She's like, nothing. I'm like, good. I'm going to follow up with you every day for the next 6 months to make sure I want that report emailed to me to make sure you're doing your job. And she's like, well, there is something you can do for me. I'm like, name it. I'm here to help. And she's like, get out of my way. I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, don't think you understand here. I'm in charge here. She's like, you hired me to lead this team to success. And then now you're telling me you don't trust me to lead them to success. I'm like, huh. Biting my tongue. I'm like, why don't we finish this conversation in the morning? Because I wanted to spend some time to think about it and cool down. And then, and so I go home and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, we try to mimic a lot of the lessons learned we had in the military. So how did I have such a failure of a customer service team, which at that time I was blaming it was all on the leader, right? But maybe I was missing something else just because of what that new leader said. So I'm thinking back to my days when I was a drill sergeant and the lieutenant colonel comes out, the battalion commander, and he gave us that quantifiable objective. Okay, great, quantifiable objective. Well, I did that with customer service. 5 minutes for emails, same day for, or 5 minutes for phone calls, same day for emails. Got it, quantifiable objective. He gave us the assets to do our job. I did that with them. They have all the personnel, the equipment, technical support they need, they got it. What am I missing? And then I thought about what she told me, and then I thought about what that meant, and did that apply to what I had when I was a drill sergeant? So the lieutenant colonel not only did he give us the mission, he gave us the assets, but although he was always present, or usually present, he never once let us feel like we did not have the authority to do our job. Even when he's standing right next to us, never once did I feel like, oh, he's hovering over my shoulder, I better do this right. Never once. He was always there to help and assist, because he always made sure that we had the authority to execute on the mission that he gave us. He gave us that mission. He thought it was important for us to do that mission, and we can make our own mistakes or have our own successes. And I thought that same thing relied to our customer service. I'm like, well, she might be right. And I kept thinking about this in relation to the military as well. I'm like, you know what? This is more common than I thought. You have 18 to 22-year-olds, right, with a high school education who 6 months earlier were as average Joe eating Doritos on an Xbox, right? All of a sudden, they're a part of the most elite fighting force in the world, kicking in doors, and it's not because they are individual heroes. They're not. Their team does heroic things because they execute, they succeed and fail as a team, and they have that authority to do so. They understand the mission, they have the assets to execute, but they finally have the authority to push and execute that mission. Same thing with the customer service. When I went into the other customer service manager, the one who I forced out, my mistake, I was wrong. I forced them out because I told everyone, I don't trust you. Everyone, look, I don't trust you. You are not in charge. Because my attitude was, hey, listen, I know better than you. You can't do it. I'm going to do it for you. Just watch me, right? Well, what am I doing? I completely neutered his ability to lead. He may have been successful. He might have been a bad leader. Guess what? I don't know because I never gave him that opportunity. Now, just because you give someone the authority to lead as a team or as a leader, it doesn't mean you are uninvolved. There was another quote that our battalion commander would say all the time, you can't expect what you don't inspect, right? But even while he did that, not once did we feel like we did not have the authority over our own mission. So back to our customer service. New team leader, I'm like, fine. You know what? I thought about this last night. I think you're right. It sounds so simple, but sure. I'm going to keep hands off for 30 days, but here's the deal. I don't want 5 minutes anymore for a phone call, and I don't want same-day delivery on emails, all right? If this is truly what it is, I want 30 seconds for a phone pickup and 30 minutes for an email. That's the best standard in the world. All right, you said this is what you want, you got it, all right? So she's like, sure, no problem. She's like, but you can't check up on us until 30 days. I'm like, fine. She's like, and by the way, if we crush this, she's like, which we will, we're gonna dress you for the next company meeting. I'm like, sure, whatever that means, I don't care. So 30 days later, I'm sitting on my hands, just waiting for, you know, the numbers, and it's hard. And I'm like, oh man, I know it's going to melt down. I know it's going to melt down. But I don't see as many complaints. I'm like, okay, maybe they're not doing the great standard. At least they're holding the line. But 30 days into it, right before our next company meeting, she comes in with her report, and she also brings with her a size 13, 6-inch open-toed white pumps and a skirt. She's like, I'll give you the numbers while you put these on. Crushed the 30 numbers. Decimated them. I was so impressed, and it had nothing to do with me. It was 100% the team. So going back, and this is what I want to leave you with, going back to the 18 to 22-year-olds, right? Think about the absolute heroic intensity and missions that these young men and women accomplish. It's insane. 6 months ago, you're in high school. Now you're kicking in doors on a front line with a language you don't speak, okay? That the entire nation rests upon your willingness to do that. Each of those individuals aren't heroes, but they decide to come together as a team by putting the mission first, using the assets they were given, and then finally using that as their authority to make their own decisions, to have their own self-determination, to get the job done. As soon as I assumed I was smarter than everyone else, we lost, because now it's all on my shoulders. These guys were able to accomplish, men and women were able to accomplish phenomenal things because they had those 3 things. And the biggest one, which is what everybody missed, and especially me, I missed this. And this is what I want to bring from the military to our civilian sector, whether you're running a business, nonprofit, or anything else, right? Or maybe a church group. It's you have to give teams the authority and the trust to execute, win or lose. George Patton once said, don't tell people how to do things, tell them what to do, and let them surprise you with the results. Thank you, guys.